What happened on 11 August? Anthropic confirmed that Claude now embeds an invisible watermark in the text it generates and provenance metadata in image files. It applies worldwide to models launched from 2 August onwards. Older models follow by 2nd December. OpenAI, Google, Meta, Microsoft, and around 190 others have signed the same European Code of Practice. The reason is Article 50 of the EU AI Act, which became enforceable on 2nd August. Two separate things changed, and they are getting confused. The first is technical. AI-generated text now carries a mark. Anthropic has been clear that this changes nothing about who owns the output, and that the mark shows only that Claude processed the text, not that Claude wrote it. That is true and worth saying. The second is legal, and it is the one that matters to you. Article 50 creates a disclosure duty. It does not sit with Anthropic. It sits with the organization publishing the content. So when the reassurance says nothing changes, it is describing the mark. It is not describing the law. Ownership was never the risk. Disclosure is. What the duty actually says, Article 50 requires organizations to disclose AI-generated text published to inform the public on matters of public interest. Commission guidance points to economic, environmental, political, and scientific questions of public debate and to corporate reporting. In practice, that means the sustainability report, a public consultation response, and investor communication. Routine marketing copy is generally outside it. The duty falls away in one situation, where a person has genuinely reviewed the content and holds editorial responsibility for publishing it. That exemption is the whole game. It is not something you can simply assert. It is something you would need to show. Why the watermark itself tells you very little. Two problems briefly. It cannot tell the difference between a document Claude wrote from scratch and one where Claude fixed the grammar. Both look the same to a detector, yet that is precisely the distinction the law treats as decisive, and it weakens as text is edited. A lightly tidied AI draft usually keeps the mark. A heavily rewritten one usually loses it. So detection measures how much editing happened, not how much thought went in. Used as a test of honesty or quality, it catches the careful and misses the careless. Anthropic announced a detection tool for third parties on 14th of August, which is welcome. But a detector helps whoever is making the accusation. It does not help you answer one, what your board should track. This is not an AI policy question. Most organizations already have a policy covering which tools staff may use. This is a disclosure and records question. 6 items belong on the agenda. Scope. Does any of our published output reach the European Union? If yes, Article 50 may apply to us directly. If no, we still receive the technical marking, but the legal duty may not bite. Have this determined, not assumed. The in-scope list. Which specific publications count as informing the public on matters of public interest? Name them. For most organizations, it is a short list: annual and sustainability reports, regulatory and consultation submissions, investor material, public position statements. Most other output cites outside. Named editorial responsibility. For each item on that list, who holds editorial responsibility? A name, recorded, not a department. Evidence of review. What does meaningful human review mean here, and could we demonstrate it happened 18 months later to someone unsympathetic? If the honest answer is a shrug, that is the gap. The supply chain, the one most boards will miss. Agencies, consultants, freelancers, and law firms are producing content for you using these tools right now. Do your contracts require them to disclose AI use to you? Almost certainly not, because until 3 weeks ago, there was no reason to ask. Your exposure arrives through work you did not produce and cannot inspect. Response readiness. If a client, journalist, or opposing party runs a detector across our material and makes an allegation, who responds and with what? Deciding that in advance costs an hour. Deciding it under pressure costs a great deal more. 2 things to watch: the 2nd December deadline, when the remaining older models come into scope, and whether marking extends to audio and video, which it currently does not, and which is where the harder problems sit. The point: nobody is going to ask whether you own your content. They are going to ask how it was made. The organizations that struggle here will not be the ones using AI. They will be the ones that never decided what to say about it and cannot show who was responsible. For transparency, this edition was drafted with AI assistance, checked against the sources below, and published under my editorial responsibility. It is almost certainly carrying the mark it describes. The Signal Anthropic's watermark changes nothing about who owns your content. Article 50 of the EU AI Act changes who has to disclose how it was made. The first is a fact about a piece of technology, the second is an obligation on your organization. They are not the same thing. The question: take the last three documents your organization published on a matter of public interest. Can you name the person who held editorial responsibility for each, and could you evidence the review they carried out? If not, the work here is not technical. It is a records problem, and it is fixable this quarter. Sources and further reading: Anthropic, How Claude Marks AI Generated Content, Claude Help Center, https support claude.com en articles Weinstein 2673 How Claude Marks AI Generated Content TechCrunch. Anthropic says it will watermark text generated by its AI models 11 August 2026 https techcrunch.com 2026 08 11. Anthropic says it will watermark text generated by its AI models Axios. Anthropic's text watermark signal new front in AI detection 12th of August 2026 https www.axios.com 2026 08 12. Anthropic Claude watermarks AI detection artificial lawyer. Anthropic will embed watermarks in AI outputs 13 August 2026 https www.artificiallawyer.com 2026 08 13. Anthropic will embed watermarks in AI outputs. The decoder: Anthropic announces watermark detection API for third parties 14 August 2026 https thedecoder.com. Anthropic announces watermark detection API that will let third parties detect Claude's AI texts. European Commission transparency obligations under Article 50 of the AI Act. Questions and answers: https digitalstrategy.ec EU FAQs transparency obligations under Article 50 AI Act EU Artificial Intelligence Act Article 50 https artificialintelligenceact.eu Article 50 William Fry A Practical Guide to the Extraterritorial Reach of the AI Act https www.williamfree.com Knowledge A Practical Guide to the Extraterritorial Reach of the AI Act. The views and analysis in this newsletter are Jonathan Ashton's own opinion, based on the facts set out above and on the published sources listed. They are not legal advice, and the summary of Article 50 here is a simplification. Organizations whose output reaches the European Union should take their own advice on whether and how these obligations apply to them. This edition was researched and drafted with AI assistance, checked against the primary sources listed above, edited by me, and published under my editorial responsibility.